This is the ZTE Blade V8 Pro, a $230 off-contract smartphone that bridges the gap between the budget smartphones out there, such as the blue Life 1 X2, and budget flagships like the OnePlus 3T. Is the Blade V8 Pro worth your hard-earned money? Well, that depends, but for the most part, yes, it is. Inside the box, we'll find the ZTE Blade V8 Pro sitting right on top, tucked away in a plastic bag. Underneath, there's a packet containing some user manuals, get started guides, and a SIM card ejector tool. And below that, we have a fast charging wall wart and USB Type-C charging cable. That's it. The build is actually very good. It features an aluminum frame that stretches around all four sides of the device, which gives off the illusion that you're actually holding something worth more than it actually is. It does also improve the device's rigidity. I'd say the cheapest area of the phone is the checkered plastic back cover. It doesn't scream quality because it is made of plastic, but it does provide a pretty good amount of grip, and the soft touch texture actually feels refreshingly good on the hands. Some notable features of the build include a USB Type-C port and a dual SIM card slot with support for a micro SD card. The 5.5-inch 1080p display works well. It has great viewing angles and pretty decent color reproduction. The 401 pixel per inch index is more than enough for most people, and it does get pretty bright, but colors are nowhere near as vivid as on a Samsung or LG flagship device. Also, the contrast ratio is nowhere near as high as on an AMOLED panel. I will say, the fingerprint scanner, which is built into the home button, is blazing fast. It's one of the quickest I've used and certainly one of the fastest, if not the fastest, I've ever used on a budget smartphone. It's impressive and reminds me a lot of the OnePlus 3. The V8 Pro is running Android 6.0.1 Marshmallow, but it does come preloaded with a semi-heavy skin. You'll see the launcher has been left alone for the most part. There's a vertical scrolling app drawer. The quick settings and notification panel have been reskinned, as with the settings drawer, but the layout and functionality available via stock Android is still present for the most part here. So while some of the icons and themes may be tweaked from stock Android, the overall layout and functionality is still more or less the same. In terms of performance with everyday usage, the phone should keep up with everything you throw at it. Social media apps like YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter will run just fine. You'll start to see more kickback when you run graphic-intensive apps and games. This is where the flagship devices will really make a world of difference. For the price, the Snapdragon 625 octa-core chipset with 3GB of RAM is fair. I ran the device through Geekbench 4, and Geekbench 4 spit out a single-core score of about 800 and a multi-core score of about 3000. So that's kind of the conceptual, abstract analysis of the performance of the phone. To get the most out of this device, you're gonna have to tweak some of the settings. So the phone has a very aggressive RAM management system automatically turned on that will auto-close apps that are running in the background, which can be pretty darn annoying. For example, if you're listening to music and you put the phone to sleep, you don't want it to stop playing the music after 15 minutes of playback, but that's exactly what will happen. It will kill your music listening app and all the other apps running in the background and restart them when you power the display back on. It sounds like it's doing you a favor, but in reality, it's actually using up more power by restarting each app. So you're definitely going to want to turn this feature off for that reason and for the inconvenience factor. To fix this issue and make the phone enjoyable, because honestly, this phone is not enjoyable unless you fix this feature, you're going to need to navigate to Power Management and go to Power Management for Apps, then click the three-dot menu and go to App Protection List. These are a list of the apps that are protected or excluded from the aggressive battery/power management quote-unquote feature. Now you can uncheck each app manually or go to the three-dot menu and tap on Set All to Off. If you're going to pick up this phone, this is something I highly recommend you do. I'll leave a link in the description to a video that goes over this supposed feature in more detail. Now, the most defining characteristic of the Blade V8 Pro is the cameras. There are two 13-megapixel rear-facing camera sensors, and they work in a similar fashion to that of the iPhone 7 Plus and Huawei Honor 6X. Now, there's a bunch of different modes, such as a manual mode that will let you tweak everything to your heart's content, as well as a slow motion mode and live photo mode. But the most interesting, in my opinion, and the one that I'll focus on in this video, is the dual camera mode that lets you take a photo and refocus the image after the fact. You can also use it to add some extra bokeh to your images. I think it's a very neat feature that will certainly make your purchase of the phone all the more tempting, especially for the amateur photographers out there. But in terms of the image quality, I mean, you're going to be able to capture some pretty good results in well-lit scenarios, even in fairly dim scenarios. The sensors do pretty well. We're at a point where budget smartphones can take totally acceptable photos. The low light performance and sharpness is not going to be as superb as the flagship sensors, but for half the cost, the phone does well in this department. You can't really complain too much. Also, I love the wide 8 megapixel front-facing camera sensor. I don't have to hold the phone super far away from me to get my whole face in the shot. I haven't been able to test the battery life in detail, but I will say that it looks promising on paper and has performed pretty well in my limited usage. It's a 3140 mAh battery that also features Qualcomm's Quick Charging 2.0 technology, so you will be able to charge this phone up very quickly if it does get uncomfortably low. I'd say you should be able to get between 3 and 4 hours of screen on time comfortably with moderate usage like checking social media. You'll likely even be able to get more screen on time by adjusting the brightness of your screen and eliminating background apps and so forth. What's also neat to see here with a budget smartphone that costs less than $300 is the Dolby audio support and a dedicated hi-fi audio chipset. So if you listen to music or watch videos via headphones, you should notice higher quality sound than if this chipset weren't present. As for the bottom facing speaker, it is not very good at all. There's no low end and the sound is somewhat tinny. I wouldn't listen to long videos or albums without headphones or an external speaker, that's for sure. So the ZTE Blade V8 Pro costs $230, and for that price, it is absolutely worth it. It has just about everything one could ask for in a smartphone. A micro SD card and dual SIM card slot, NFC, fingerprint reader, dual camera sensors with dual tone flash, a wide angle front facing camera, a fairly pure version of Android Marshmallow, an octa-core processor with 3 GB of RAM, and a hi-fi chipset. If you add a third-party launcher and tweak the aggressive RAM management settings, you should really enjoy the Blade V8 Pro. I'll place a link to the Amazon listing in the description if you want to check this phone out or pick it up for yourself, and I will be answering any questions you may have in the comments section below. Thumbs up if you enjoyed this video, subscribe if you're brand new. As always, I'm BoHD from PhoneDag.com. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you right back here in the next one. See ya.